I'm Lamar Pitts, and this is my dad, Greg Pitts. We go all around the world covering community service, places to go, places to shop, places to eat. Not to mention, we record our lives on a daily basis. So to see our perception of the 21st century, join us in Lamar Pitts TV.
Stay tuned for more. Folks, your boy, producer, Greg Pitts, Lamar Pitts TV in Lynchburg, Tennessee. That rhymes.
Oh my God.
That rhymes, but I won't repeat it.
Oh.
Right behind me, going in, Jack Daniels.
It is what it is, yeah.
Yes, she did. She did bring her shit down. Had to go drag him out of the tasting room. All right. Y'all would just kind of scoot down this way. Just if we whatever when we're not busy, we can sharp lawnmower blades. That'd be a good idea, wouldn't it? He's getting his degree in entrepreneurship, and I'm always trying to throw a business idea at him. We're going to be making our way up to the Rickyard. I'm going to point out a few things to you. This gray building that we're going by right there, that is the oldest and smallest warehouse on our property. 6,059 barrels of whiskey in that warehouse. That's very small in comparison to most of our warehouses. Our average warehouse will house somewhere around 20,000 barrels of whiskey, and that's roughly about 1 million gallons of Jack Daniels in each one of those 80 warehouses. A lot of thirsty people around here. We're just trying to make sure everybody has a good drink when they want one. Now, when you leave here today, when you call your relatives and on the way to wherever you're headed today, make sure you tell them you just left the wettest dry county in the world, because you'll be telling them the truth about that. Now, there's a couple of exceptions to that dry county rule. One is that at the end of the tour, we're able to sell you a collector's bottle of Jack Daniels. In 1995, we did get a special act passed by the Tennessee State Legislature to allow us to sell collector bottles here. The other exception to the rule is one John and I like, and that's the first Friday of every month. All us lucky employees here at Jack Daniels, we get a bottle of Jack Daniels whiskey to take home with us at the end of the day. And we call that Good Friday around here. All right, we're not going to be returning to the bus. Make sure you take off everything you brought on with you. And thank you very much, John, for the ride.
Yes, sir. Have a good night. Y'all enjoy it, too.
You can take photos outside anywhere you like.
Okay.
Outside, and then in Jack's office as well. This area right here is called the Rickyard, and what we do up here at the Rickyard, this is where we make charcoal. And the reason that we need charcoal here at Jack Daniels is because every drop of our whiskey, drop by drop, goes through at least 10 feet of charcoal in a process that's known as charcoal mellowing. That's what uniquely makes Jack Daniels a Tennessee whiskey. Now, the bourbon makers, they take their whiskey right off the still. They'll put their whiskey into the barrel and start the aging process. With us, we go one step further by dripping every drop of our whiskey through 10 feet of charcoal. Let me tell you how we make the charcoal. We start out with 4 stacks of this hard sugar maple over here, and that's the same tree that the folks up north tap to get maple syrup from. But down south, we like to feel we put it to a little bit better purpose down here making whiskey with it. We'll take 4 stacks of that, place it up under this EPA approved hood over here. We'll spray it down with 140 proof whiskey right off our still. Now, I know that sounds like a waste of good whiskey to some of you folks, but the reason we do that, we don't want to contaminate that wood with gasoline, kerosene, or any other type of petroleum product. If we were to do that, good possibility that it may come out in the taste of the whiskey later on. We'll let it burn for about an hour. It'll get up to about 2,000 degrees under that hood. That's when we'll start putting water on it to calm the fire down. Too much water too quick, it'll put the fire out. If you wait too late in the process, you'll have a big pile of ashes. 4 stacks of that will make 1 pan of this charcoal that you see right over here. It'll take the burning of 16 of these ricks right here to make enough charcoal to fill up a mellowing vat that'll only last somewhere between 3 and 6 months. All right, if y'all would follow me right this way, we're headed down the hill. We keep about 800 stacks of this wood in inventory at any given time. It'll have to season out in the open air for 6 months before we're ready to use it.
Are y'all still able to harvest that sugar maple from Tennessee?
70-mile radius. A whole lot of them around. That particular warehouse up there has about 20,000 barrels in it, and that's roughly about 1 million gallons of Jack Daniels on the roof up there sitting on that hill. Now, the federal government loves Jack Daniels whiskey. Every time we bump into them, they've got their hands stuck out. $13.50 federal tax has to be paid on every gallon of whiskey that leaves here. So if we were bottling up that whole warehouse, we would have to write the federal government a check in that one building for $13.5 million federal taxes alone. Now that doesn't include the state tax and the local tax. You factor in all three of those, about 60% of what you pay for a bottle of whiskey is all taxes. Yep, it's crazy. Evidently, it's not enough. Talk has it that a few of the local folks around here want to impose a $10 barrel tax on every barrel that's filled and leaves here to go into the warehouse. I don't know where the stopping point is. Come on right this way. We've never lost a single gallon of whiskey due to a fire here at Jack Daniels. These fire engines didn't see a lot of work back in their day. The one on the right-hand side is a 1919 model. It's an American LaFrance. The one on the left-hand side happens to be a 1928 REO Speedwagon. That's where the rock group REO got their name from. All right, we're going to make our way up the rock pathway here. We're going to bypass this statue, but we'll come back to it in just a bit. Oh yeah, I've been back in a mile. That's about as far as you can go back in there. But we have a team that comes in once a year and surveys it. Last time they came in, they had lasers and they took a 3D image of the whole thing. Oh wow! So you can actually take a virtual look at the inside of the cave. What they're checking for is measurements to see if any of the rock formations are moved. To give you a little history behind Jack. He was only about 7 or 8 years of age when he first started to learn how to make whiskey. How old are you? 14. Wow. So he was half your age when he started making whiskey. Are you making anything? No, whiskey. No, good answer. Good answer. Well, old Jack, like I said, he was only about 7 or 8 when he first started to learn how to make whiskey. And he happened to learn how to make whiskey from a Lutheran minister of all people. And that Lutheran minister's name was Dan Call. Now, Dan Call and Jack, they were making a whole lot of whiskey together. Matter of fact, they were making so much whiskey that some of the ladies in the church started to raise their eyebrow to the fact that Dan Call was more interested in what was going on at the whiskey still than he was the congregation. So they called him in for a meeting, put a little pressure on him. He decided he'd get out of the whiskey making business, and so he sold the still to Jack for $25. That was in 1866, and he brought it to this location where we're standing at today and started making whiskey under the cover of this natural limestone formation. By that time, Jack was a seasoned whiskey maker at the ripe old age of 16. He came here because of this water. Back in Jack's day, every drop of whiskey that he made with water from this cave. And that has not changed today. Still, every drop of Jack Daniels whiskey that we make here is made with water from this cave. It's never gone dry in the history of our distillery. And on a good day, it'll give us about 2 million gallons of water to make whiskey with. This cave extends back into this hillside about 1 mile. And the water level does fluctuate up and down. It's up a little bit right now because we got a lot of rain in the area. But the main thing is it's never gone dry. All right, if y'all would, let's gather up down there in front of that statue and we'll talk a little bit more about old Jack.